y'all, this is She Buys It with Whitney Nicely. Yay! Hello! Welcome back to the She Buys It podcast. We have an awesome episode for you today. Andresa is with me from Philadelphia, and you know her from the Invest Her community and the Invest Her podcast, so you know this conversation is going to be amazing. We're going to dig deep. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of investing like a lady, and we're going to talk about some mindset. We're going to dig into her first deal. Y'all, this is going to be awesome. I'm so excited, and I'm honored to have you here with me today. Andresa, did I miss anything?
Well, I'm just soaking up all your energy, and that's what I love about you. That's all the intensity. That's what I love about you. I already told you this, but I think that all the ladies that are listening, all the guys that are listening too, this is going to be very raw, and I'm straightforward. So if you get offended, sorry about that, but get going, and pretty much it.
I know. All right. Well, that was a whole episode. So I love it. You're right. I do have a lot of energy, and I got to tell everybody, I just drink 1 cup of coffee. I'm not on the caffeine all day. 1 cup gets me going. And I have been described as intense. And some people don't like that. But I think other intense people like it and roll with it because it helps them be more intense.
Yes. If they don't like it, that's none of your business. It's their business. So
it's not a bad thing to be intense and intentional and get things done. I mean,
yes.
If we weren't out here getting things done, nothing would be going on.
Exactly.
And then we'd be bored. So
totally
can't have that.
Mellow and bored and vanilla flavor.
I can't. I've never been that way, and I'm not going to change it now.
Thank God.
So, Andresa, tell me about your first deal and tell me how you decided, you know what, I'm going to get into real estate. Mm-hmm. Tell me how all of this started to happen. Tell me how you found your seller. Just come on, puke it out on me.
Sure. So my journey started in 2011, more or less. I was actually doing door-to-door sales, and I came to my manager and I asked him, hey, I would like to know more about sales. Can you please share with me a book or whatever? He's like, honey, you're not going to be in sales. You're going to be an entrepreneur. And I'm going to share this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, what is this purple book? Never heard of Robert. But that really kind of like, it's cheesy, but it did change my life. 1 week later, I was talking to him about like this completely new world that I didn't know even existed.
I thought you were going to take that in a totally different direction, and I was ready for a fight, but I am super impressed with this manager that you had that said, no, you're going to, like, he could see that in you, that you were going to be an entrepreneur and you needed Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like,
exactly. I was like,
I got chill bumps. That's awesome.
Right. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. He's like, I know that you don't. That's why we're having this conversation. I was like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. But that's okay. He's like, you're going to read it in 1 week and we're going to have another conversation next week. And I was like, you're shooting yourself on the foot because I'm going to get the hell out of here. He's like, that's fine. You will regardless. So let me guide you through it. And I was like, wow. So that was it. And those 3 days, $199 type of courses, I took that and I was like, wow, this is really like insanity. And my ex-husband at the time also took the course, and we decided to start looking for the first deal. It took us 6 months. And then I remember like really digging to analyzing the market to the T. And then one weekend, this property came, was Labor Day weekend. This property came on the market. I knew right there that I needed to see it and make an offer for sure. And then I called my realtor at that time, and he's like, Andresa, let's do it like Monday because it's Labor Day weekend. And I say, hey, Jack, love you, but I'm seeing this property with or without you. And I'm seeing this property Saturday morning. That was a Friday night, something like that. I'm seeing this property tomorrow morning. And he's like, fine, I'll meet you there, 8:30. That was it. That we put up I knew this, the bones were really good. Put a full price offer. At that time was 175. Full price offer. Got it, the entire thing renovated, and we decided to live in the property. So we pulled out a HELOC, $68,000. We were able to pull out, and that 68 really propelled us to reinvest our money in other deals moving forward. We moved out within 2 years, kept the property for rental, short-term rental, which makes right now double than long-term rental, which I love to death. And now that we are different paths, I'm more looking into commercial large deals. We actually listed the property, and we're under contract. After 5 days on the market, we're under contract, and we're really happy with the sales price.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
So it's like full cycle.
So I have a couple of questions
Sure.
on things that you said in that I want to point out. So you lived in the house for 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Was it in the last 5 years?
No, we lived there from 2012 until 2015.
Because and I'm not an accountant, I'm not a bookkeeper, I don't specialize in this, but what you were doing was house hacking, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we call it in the industry, is house hacking. You bought a house, you moved in, you flipped it, you lived there, and then you pulled the equity out so you could keep going. That's a great description of house hacking, and it's awesome. And people have been doing that. You know, my mom did that in the 70s, and they didn't call it that then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but people have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
But people are still doing it, and now that's really popular. But I ask about the 2 out of 5 years because there's some capital gains or some sort of tax benefit. If you live in the house for 2 years and then you rent it for 3 years and then sell it at the end, as long as you have lived in the house for 2 of the last 5 years, there's some sort of benefit there. And I don't know what it is. Do you know?
Yes, I believe we don't pay capital gains, if I'm not mistaken. At all.
Which means you could put a house on a 5-year plan. You live there for 2, rent it for 3, make money on it, sell it, and still don't pay any capital gains. And you can do that as much as you want to. You just got to be willing to move all the time.
Exactly. So we did that twice.
Perfect.
Already. And it works very well.
I love that. Okay, that's fantastic. And then you said something else about the short-term rentals. Tell me about that. How did you decide to take your house and did you leave? Did you leave your furniture there? Like, how do you turn your home into a short-term rental?
So it's very curious. In 2012, like Airbnb, still up to this day, a lot of people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But in 2012, when I heard about Airbnb for the first time, I was like, weird, super weird.
You're letting people live in your house?
What are you talking about? How about my belongings? And I was like, which belongings I do worry about? I don't care about stuff. So jewelry is sitting around. No. And then a friend of ours, she was traveling a lot and really renting her house while she was gone. She's like, why don't you guys try it? Because you guys also travel a lot and you're in and out. Just do that while you're gone. I was like, okay. And then I was like, hold on a minute. Just like 2 or 3 times that we rent this for like a couple of days, it almost covers our mortgage. And I was like, I'm totally fine getting new sheets and you know, moving things around, putting things on storage, whatever we can accommodate. And then we got to the point where we decided to get a new primary house. That's when we moved. And we left all the furniture there and furnished the entire house with new furniture.
That's fantastic. So you get a new house and you get all new furniture.
Yeah. So that tells how it was really beneficial for us. As I said, this property, and like a quick tip for you guys that are doing short-term rentals. If you tailor to your niche, it's just much, much better than really broad. This property, for example, I tailor to families. So it's kid and pet friendly. So and I have like crib, high chair, things for the dog. So it attracts a lot of folks that they barely stay at the house, to be honest. And they get the hell out because they are with the family, but they want to explore the city, explore Philadelphia and everything else. So that made my property very attracted. And you get repeated customers or clients or guests, what do you call, that come every year to visit. So they want to stay there because they know that they have everything that they need there for the kids.
I know I have an Airbnb house and ours is pet friendly. That was our biggest thing because my family, there's 6 humans and we had 5 dogs and we want to take our dogs with us.
Yeah.
And we had 2 Italian Mastiffs and a Lab Great Dane combo. And then we had 2 little Frenchies. All right. But we had 5 dogs and 6 people and we wanted to go and take the dogs, but we got these huge honking dogs that nobody wants to have in their house. And we would pay premium prices just to take our fur babies with us. So when I decided to get into Airbnb and put a house up, I made sure it was dog friendly because bring them. I don't care. A lot of times the dogs do less damage than kids.
100%. And for the folks that travel with their dogs, they care so much. So they take the dogs also in different areas. So I also recommend like restaurants where they can bring their dogs and activities where they can bring their dogs, dog park. All of that is tailored to the guests. So they really appreciate that.
I think as society too, we're pretty kind of up against each other on, are we going to allow dogs and pets into our family? Or are we like anti no dogs, no fur, no nothing? And I think when you start to bridge that gap and you realize that, I think it's something like 90% of tenants have dogs. So if you say no animals allowed, you are taking the market and shrinking it down to almost nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And instead of that, you can have, of course, you can totally have a pet fee. You can have things that, okay, hey, if you're going to sleep with your dog, I have this cover sheet over here that you got to put it over here on cover on the couch. So you have other things that you can protect your house and everything else. But so far, Whitney, I haven't had issues with pets. I had issues with people, not with the pets.
The pets are amazing to deal with. It's the people that are getting on my nerves. Yeah. And, you know, we also, our Airbnb is 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. And even though we allow pets and we are pretty family friendly, it's not in like a great part of town. And it's just not somewhere that I would want to go for like a week or 2 and vacation. Okay. My house is not a vacation home and I don't charge like that. I charge $139 a night. So I'm less than a hotel for anybody that needs that. And you get 4 bedrooms, a kitchen, a driveway, and I don't care how many cars you park. I don't care. I want you to be happy and live your best life. Just sleep in my place and pay me. That's it. That's all I want from you. And you'd be really surprised at the people that are dealing with people who aren't gracious hosts, and they've got all these rules and all these things, and where you're uncomfortable even staying there. And I just can't deal with all that. I'll do my thing, you do yours.
Exactly.
But when you're pet friendly, I also have extended my days because in Philadelphia, you probably get a lot of travelers. Knoxville has very high peaks and very low valleys when it comes to our tourist season. But last winter, I had a family that stayed in my house for 6 weeks, and then they extended for another 2 weeks. So they were in my house for 2 months. And I thought, oh, I figured it out now. Because I don't have to change the sheets. I don't have to have the cleaning company. I don't have to worry about somebody new coming in and making sure they can connect to the Wi-Fi and all this stuff. And those people were here house shopping. But it was, they had their parents, they had the couple, they had the kids, they had the dogs, they were up from Florida, they had people come from Kentucky, but they were house shopping. And I was so happy to have them that now, later that year, we went into a 7-day minimum. And then I went to a 10-day minimum. And what I didn't like was people coming and staying for the weekend. It was just too much turnover for me. We're at a 20-night minimum now, and I've had a contractor crew for 3 months.
Look at that.
And I love it. I send them pizza once a month on Fridays. And they love me too, because they were staying at a place where their host came by and checked on them and made sure that this and that and the other was happening. And I'm like, whatever, y'all want pizza next week? Go to work, go home, do whatever you want.
Those are like the long-term renters for me. I love when also with the insurance company that something happened at the homeowner's property, either a fire, a water damage, and the insurance needs to put them in some place. So the family itself, they don't really care how much they're paying because they're not paying for it. So the insurance company really needs that. So building relationships with insurance company, and they pay premium. They pay premium. I love that.
And they pay, they don't ask questions, and they're good for it, and they're happy, the family's happy. And also the family, when I talk to the insurance companies about this, the families liked it because they didn't have to move schools. So it didn't matter where they were, their kids could stay at their home base. But that happens all the time. And what a nice thing to be able to provide for your neighbors and your family and your community to say, gosh, I'm upset that this happened to you, but I've got this great place where you can stay and not have to be stuck in a hotel for 3, 6, 9 months.
Exactly. Like all crumble up. So the kids have their rooms. The dog has a place, it's just comfortable for the family. It's a win-win throughout.
And, they're going through a hard time in life. Why don't we just try to make it as easy for them as possible and let them feel like they're at home? I had a family that stayed over Christmas, and I even said, do you want a tree? I've got an extra. And they were like, that'd be great because ours is gone.
Wow.
So cater to these people. And I think being family friendly and pet friendly is really great. You have to be careful with the words you use, but I think that's awesome that you're catering to help families.
Yeah, it's been a great journey. So far, so good.
Well, tell me a little bit let's talk about the mindset that you have to be a real estate investor and still be a mom.
Yeah.
Still be, you were a wife. Gonna be another wife sometime. This is how we live.
Yeah.
So what's the mindset to keep you going? How do you keep your energy up? How do you keep your intensity up? How do you, you're going through a lot, you're losing contractors, you're losing deals, how do you keep going?
Losing mind, hair, and all of that. One day my mom came to my office, and I painted the office with black paint so I could write on the wall. And I just put everything there, and she was like, is this how your brain is? Everything inside your brain? I was like, yeah, I need another wall because this is what goes on inside my brain. So I do believe that the mindset that you have will either hold you back or propel you forward. And it's not like, okay, I'm reading today to get results today. No, I think that the results that I'm getting right now, it's from 3-5 years ago. So you're trained to do it. Even if I door-to-door sales, right? I remember doing every single Sunday, what was my weekly plan? Having that. I don't wing. I know what is going on my week, on my day. If you come right now, I have a to-do list next to me, or whatever you want to call. I don't rely on my brain because after I gave birth, half of that is gone. So I need tools. I need apps. I need paper, pen, and I need that. And systems in place for me to do not go crazy and go, out of the rails. So I think that everything that people can say, oh, I did this course and it really struck me, I'm interested. I already freaking walk on the fire. One of the trainings that I've done, I went to pick up kitchen the next day and the person said, honey, something happened with you? And I was like, why? It's like, you have bruises all over your body. Is everything good? Do we need to call the police? I was like, oh, no. This is a training that I did in the middle of the woods doing crazy things. right? To really understand, why do I react the way that I react, and how can I reframe and adjust my life the way that I feel it fits. I'm constantly reading, constantly. I don't, when I meet somebody new, I don't ask, how many doors do you have? Well, I don't care. That doesn't add anything to my life. What I ask is, what are you reading now? What have you done before that propelled you to be where you are right now? Because that's what I want to know. Does that make sense?
I love that. What are you reading right now? That's a great icebreaker. That's a great topic of conversation, because people like us are always reading one or two books. Reading one, listening to another, and subscribing to a different podcast or three, and, you know, being on YouTube, watching those videos, and always just constantly learning and growing, because, you know, what you said was awesome. It started 5 years ago, or you learned this 5 years ago, but now it makes sense. And sometimes we have to learn things and go through things to let it plant that seed. But when you plant the seed, it's not the day that it grows and produces fruit. It's going to be years later. And I think you have to have that kind of broad vision to be in real estate, because, okay, we can talk about wholesaling, and that's a pretty fast, you know, cash flow. But the real money in real estate is the long term, and you plant the seed now, and you have to wait. You have to pace yourself. You have to pace your life to know that the fruit is coming, that money is coming, the glory days are coming.
Yeah.
It just might take a minute. You got to stay with it.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes we are in a generation where we press the button of the elevator and we want it now. And
Yesterday.
If it takes more than a minute, we're like, whoa, what's going on? You text somebody and you want this person to answer. Oh, I saw you saw my text, so why are you not answering? So it's just unrealistic, the stuff that we want. We want to get started in real estate, and we compare ourselves with other people, and therefore we're always behind. So when you in this journey, I always look back. So then I have a perspective where I was and where I am now. And that fulfills my soul, because I know I'm working towards a very specific goal that has actually nothing to do with me or, you know, with my own needs and everything else.
So, well, you said something there. I want to come back to what your goals are in a second, but you said that we got this instant, you need to answer me. I saw you saw my text message, and some of that comes through in the dating world. And I compare real estate to dating all the time, because if I sent, like when I was dating before I got married 5 years ago, it hasn't been that long ago, but if I sent him a message and he didn't respond for a couple hours, I would think, oh gosh, what's wrong? He doesn't love me anymore. Oh my gosh, this is awful. He's found somebody else. And in my crazy girl brain, I was automatically on the worst case scenario. And I think a lot of people, when they're getting started in real estate, they have a little bit of that dating mentality. So if you send out yellow letters and don't hear back from somebody immediately, and they say, oh yes, come by my house, I'll give it to you for nothing, and I'll never have any complaints, then we're kind of like, well, what do you mean I have to wait? What do you mean I have to talk to 100 people? What do you mean people are going to say no to me? What do you mean people are going to be mean to me? And think about it like this. If you go on a date with somebody and by the end of the first 10 minutes, he says, all right, you ready to get married and have babies and move in together? Right? Like you would be like, oh, no way. But people think in real estate that in 10 minutes, you need to be able to make an offer, buy a house, get married, have a contract, and close in tomorrow.
It's just unrealistic.
You got to have some time here, girls. Let it simmer.
Yes, it is.
Let it grow. Let it go. Let it simmer. You're learning a lot. Every seller you talk to, every date you go on, every appointment you go on, you're learning a lot. And all of that is going to get you to your goals.
100%.
But you're not just going to take the first phone call and make it a deal.
Yeah. I remember like my first property that I described it earlier on. I looking now, I was like, damn, I overpaid the construction a lot. Right? I didn't.
But you didn't know that.
Know.
You didn't know that back then. And you said it took you 6 months to get your first deal.
Yeah.
That's a long time to say it's coming. It's coming. I know it's coming. It's going to be here. It's going to be amazing. And then you found it and you just knew. People think that if it doesn't happen in 6 minutes after joining a course or getting a program, that they're a loser and they should just quit. No, you got to stick to it.
I think that that's when the mindset kicks in though, because you the muscle of your brain, you got to train it. And you got to surround yourself with people that are going to say, hey, hold on, time out, quit this complaining, this like excuses that you're going to quit, whatever. That's what you probably do everywhere else in your life. When things don't go your way, you quit. But this here will require a little bit more of time, a little bit more of effort, adjust. Sometimes you got to adjust yourself, the system, or the team that you're building together. It's a constant adjustment.
And it's not a fairy tale. It's not magic. You got to work it.
Yeah.
All day, every day. And it's exhausting. I'll say it's exhausting sometimes. And sometimes it's the, Leslie Bradley calls it the mental gymnastics. It's the mental gymnastics. A lot of times that is exhausting. Sometimes I would rather have a day of tearing out sheetrock and hauling lumber than sitting around thinking. It will wear you out.
Yes, I get that all the time. I sometimes I'm like, let me just, one day I remember I was just getting it like and destroying walls and stuff. And they're like, the guys were like, you don't need to do that. No, please let me do this right now. I really need it.
So sad. This has nothing to do with you. I'll be okay again in a minute.
Yeah, I just need to rip this apart right now.
Yeah. Or I'm going to go put this paint on the wall and you can fix it later.
Yeah, you probably have to do all over again, but that's okay. Let me just do it.
Sometimes I also think that as women, we used to sit around together and do projects together around the house, around the community, around the village, whatever. And we would learn and we would grow and we would pour into each other. We would talk to each other and, we would be physical and do physical activity. There's nothing that says because you're a real estate investor, you have to sit behind a computer and just post on Craigslist all day. There's nothing wrong with getting out and painting a wall or tearing a wall down or going to Home Depot and getting the order and toting it back to the store. Like some of that is good physical activity. And I love Tony Robbins. You mentioned walking on fire earlier, and I walked on fire at Tony Robbins. And some of that good physical motion creates emotion, and you get it out of your system.
He's big on that, right? That blew my mind when he says, is the motion that creates the emotion and not the other way around. And I was like, wow, damn it.
And we do things so backward today. And I think he's totally right when he says, we get up from a little box bed, we get in our little box car, we go to our little box office, we stare at a box, we go home in our box car, we look at our box phone, we stare at the box, and we're just boxed in. And we never have chance to be a human. But as real estate investors, there's lots of opportunities to move and grow and think and change. And if you're not willing to go and move and think and change, you will get run over. Get out of my way.
Absolutely. And it's every day you get an opportunity. You might look at that opportunity as a problem, as a challenge. But if you look at that situation as an opportunity for all of us to grow and learn a lesson, you might be thinking, Andres, but it sucks. Right? Yeah, when you are in it sucks. But if you take a minute, right? It starts with awareness. It's like, oh gosh, what is happening here? Take a step back and look at that and say, okay, all right, let's say this is an opportunity for me to learn ... What is it? Because if you don't get that lesson, guess what? It's going to come back until you learn. So when you ask yourself, why is this happening to me over and over again? It's because you're not getting the lesson.
You're not paying attention, baby. Open your eyes. Open your ears. Take your pride. Check it at the door and realize why you're getting this lesson served up to you again. I told a lady yesterday, she said, how do you keep going? How are you so excited? How are you so positive? How do you just keep moving? And I said, waves don't ever stop. When you are sitting at the ocean, you're soaking up the sun and getting vitamin D and hanging out. Those waves never stop. Night and day, they never stop. And it's just like that in life. The problems are never going to stop. But also the opportunities, the good things, those are never going to stop either. But you can let it get caught up and take you under and end up with sand in your pants. Or you can figure out how to get on top and float it and ride it. And sometimes you ride it all the way in, and sometimes you float on down the side, the beach. But you got to realize that it's never going to stop. It's never going to get easier. Sometimes it's going to be rougher than others. Sometimes it's going to be easier than others. But you got to keep going. And you got to realize that you got to float with it. It's going to be fine. It's all on how you look at it. You also got to remember that some of these opportunities are the devil in disguise, and they're there to distract you, but you got to focus on your goals. So Andresa, tell me about your goals. What are these big goals you're working on that don't even have anything to do with you?
No, it doesn't. A lot of people when, get started in real estate and when I was like, oh, what's your why? And normally the most often answer that I get is like, oh, I want to be financially free.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? And people are like, I want to be financially free so I can, travel and like lay down on the beach. I was like, and what? Because being financially free does not, you don't need to work because you create these streams of income to do that. Okay. But what does that gonna do to your life? What you're gonna create after? That's your biggest why, because the money itself, it's not enough to survive and succeed and strive in real estate. That is my personal opinion. Some people say, I just do it for the money. That's cool. I'm not there. I'm like, if I need to do something that goes beyond. And I discovered that on the peak of my business and the down of my personal life. So the peak of my business, we were doing about 15 properties at the time, making a great money and everything was flowing very good. My personal life was not. And at that time, I realized, okay, I've done it. I built it. I've done multiple. What else? What is the kicker? I'm not getting fulfilled anymore. It's not the project. I got that, did not get any high of it. And I really realized that I was off course, right? What is real? What is my purpose over here? And is it build houses? I don't think so. It's just building houses or working in real estate is a tool for me to get where I want to get, right? And I really start digging deep with my business partner, Liz Faircloth. We start digging deep and realizing that our conversations were leaning towards the same thing, which is empower women to live a financially free and balanced life throughout the world. But we're like, okay, that's big. How can the hell we do this? We don't even have time sometimes to take a shower. Yeah. So how are we going to do that? And then we really sat down because we felt that when we go to events, we're one or two other women and we don't raise our hands. We don't get the support that we need. Therefore, I don't see, or I didn't, now I start seeing it, but a lot of women on stage, a lot of mentors, a lot of debates that had women in it. So I was like, if we don't do it but as a community, if we don't do something like that for it's not even for me, but for the next generations, the little girls are not gonna look up and say, oh yeah, she's a developer. Yeah, she does construction. Yes, she's intense. Yes, she's on stage. Yes, whatever. You fill the blank. So everything that we are doing right now is to create support for women throughout the world that will give the support that they need to invest in real estate and do whatever they want after that. If they want to open up a nonprofit, if they want to, our personal goals go beyond this, really like certain laws that are still like 19, whatever, that don't make any sense right now. So that's where my head is at. And real estate is just a tool that I really enjoy. Don't get me wrong, really enjoy it. But for me, it's just a tool to really make change in a couple of things that are happening right now the results are going to come now, but I think that the effect is going to be later on the next generations.
I completely agree with you. And y'all run the Invest Her community, and you've got the Invest Her podcast, and you got all these great, wonderful things going on. And I am a proud supporter of all the things things you have going on, because I noticed the same things. I was going to RIA meetings. I was going to boot camps. I was going to seminars. I was signing up with mentors, and there weren't any women around. And sometimes their wife was around, but I couldn't talk to her to find out these answers. And sometimes I was having real, like woman problems. Like, this contractor won't talk to me and he keeps asking for my husband. How do you deal with that?
Yes.
Like, I had a contractor walk off my job site on Monday because he wanted to deal with my brother and not with me. And it's my job and my house. My brother just made the first phone call. But like, I've been flipping for 11 years and that just happened to me on Monday. And there needs to be other women that we can call on and say, what do you do?
Yeah.
Now, I was blessed to grow up with a mom who was a real estate investor, but she was a very passive investor, where my dad would find the deals, he'd negotiate it, he'd flip it, he'd whatever, she'd support him, she'd cash the checks. But that's what she wanted to do. And I think there's a space for everybody in real estate.
Absolutely.
But there weren't any intense women like me. And when I would go to these boot camps or seminars, there may be 5 girls, but a couple of them were just supportive spouses, and there's nothing wrong with being the supportive spouse, but they weren't like ready to go talk to some sellers, or they were just ball busters. And I didn't have anything, like, I didn't feel comfortable talking to them.
Right.
And I'm pretty intense myself, but like, these women were like super intense,
Yeah.
And I had to realize that there's got to be other girls like me who want to have some fun, want to have some coffee, want to get some deals done, want to make some big bucks, want to travel, and then want to give back and help other women. And we have a similar mission at She Buys It that y'all do at Invest Her, and I think it's a great compliment. And in October, I bought the Knox RIA. So I am helping more local women get involved through the Real Estate Investors Association. And Kendra Ellis runs our local Knoxville Invest Her meetup. So we partner together. I have the ladies' tea. She has the Invest Her meeting, but we have the same conversations. We help the same women, because it's so important for women to be helping women. We used to help women all the time, and now we feel like, oh, figure it out, be an independent woman. No, I need some help. I'll be an independent woman, but first I need some help.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, the stereotype that, can we do it? Yeah, I can do it. I just don't want to do everything by myself, honestly. And I want to have my soundboard. I know I can call you and say, hey, going through this, and this, what do you think? What do you do? Because and not think, oh my gosh, now Whitney's thinking of me or this, that, and that. No, it's just the way it is. And we get used to it. And once we do that, we open the door for that person to give you a call too, and have this accountability around that is really to support women.
But not just to complain and whine and gripe. Sometimes I need somebody to call and say, I just made $100,000.
Yes.
And you just can't say that to anybody. Your best friend from high school that cuts hair is not going to appreciate that comment.
No, she's not.
And nothing wrong with her. She's awesome, and she's been your bestie since you were in diapers, but you just can't say those things to her. And you can't call her and say, my contractor just walked off the job. Do you know anybody that I can call on? You can't. So like, it's having like-minded people together who are going after goals individually.
Yeah.
Go after your goals. I'm here to support you. Go after your goals. I'm here to support you. And I don't care if you're getting started in wholesaling, but your big plan is to, develop a subdivision for women coming out of jail. I don't care. Wholesale until you can do other things.
Yeah.
If you want to get into mobile homes and then get into apartments and then you want to have a beach house, like, I want whatever you want. And I'm here to hold you accountable and celebrate with you. We don't celebrate enough. We celebrate birthdays until you're 16, and then we celebrate a wedding, but everybody's also got a chip on their shoulder at every wedding I go to. We just don't celebrate.
I agree with you. We have a mastermind of 5 or 6 women that we met for the past 5 years, every single Monday night online. And we force ourselves to celebrate what is our win for the past month. And sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, hold on a second. I need a couple of minutes. My brain is not trained yet to like, oh, let me tell you all the good stuff that happened. It takes a minute for me to really acknowledge, actually I had a couple of wins this month, blah, blah, and you always have them. You just don't acknowledge them. And then it's just like, and I realized that exactly what you're saying with me, because I don't want to make people feel less, or feel that I am like
bragging
boasting about it, or it's not that. We just do that, and we do that every single time, so we can get used to it. It's been 5 years and I seem not used to it, but I will be one day.
And one thing is, we're very goal oriented. And so sometimes we hit the goal and then we immediately turn around and say, what's the next goal? What's the next goal? What's the next goal? Instead of celebrating, it took me 6 months to hit this goal. Let me have 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Or let me have some ice cream. Let me go get a massage. Let me celebrate and savor this moment. And a lot of times we just skip it. What's next? What's next? What's next?
Yeah, 100%. I'm reading a book now called Stillness. And he really talks about, because I have a problem being still, mentally still, right? I had a flu 2 weeks ago, and my mind was still moving 100 miles per hour, and I was struggling with it. I was like, damn, how can I bring this down? And with the book really helped me with being intentional. We all need stillness. We all need to recharge in a way that will be much more beneficial for us moving forward, for our health, emotional health, spiritual health, whatever that looks like to you. As you said, it might be an ice cream, it might be a coffee, it might be taking a long shower. That's me. I need a long shower. That brings me back. And I mean long. I like long showers.
One thing, for 15 years, we've been inundated with the internet at our fingertips, and you can always check in and see what's going on. So there's always something in this. So it makes you feel like there's always something. But for, thousands of years, we were mostly still. And that's why it's important now to, meditate. And I'm a terrible meditator because I need to be going. I thrive on going, and then crash. Go, crash. But, even for me, if I walk, so I feel like I'm doing something, I've got that motion going, but I am also still in that sometimes I won't take my phones. I won't take anything to listen to. In the car, I rarely listen to anything because I need to be still for a minute, even though I'm moving. I need my brain to flow through. And gosh, that is important. I can't even believe we have to say it's okay not to always be doing.
Yes, absolutely. And it talks about it in this book that not necessarily need to be not emotion. You can be in motion intentionally. You going for a walk and connecting with nature, really like listening to the sound of the birds, of your steps, of the flowers, or what's around, being really present. That really re-energizes and, pumps you up.
I have a monthly facial appointment, and it's an hour and a half. It's 90 minutes, and I have it on my calendar, and I'm completely blocked off from the world. There's nice music. It smells nice. I'm working on, clearing out my pores in my situation. But it's also, I know I'm getting 90 minutes a month that I can be still, and then I can just relax, and I can let somebody love on me and pour into me. And because we're always giving. Yeah. You have to get refreshed at some time. And I have figured out that a facial, and sometimes I double up and get a massage, that's what does it for me. And I love it. And so you have to find all these other different things to refresh your mind, body, and soul while you're building up your financial freedom, or you'll get there and it's just about the money. And then you're just a glorified hooker.
That is true. And there's nothing wrong with it. You pick whatever works for you, right? There's nothing wrong if yours look like that, mine looks like this, but you got to be intentional and really schedule that. I am like you, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. So you got to be on my calendar.
You talked about your systems earlier, and I live and breathe by my calendar. What else do you work off of? If it's not there, it's not happening.
Well, Dropbox for me, it's key. So some people like Google Drive also, that's fine, because Dropbox for me, it's on my phone. Everything that is on my computer is on my phone, and I can have access to all the files. So if I need a change order or upload a receipt, it goes from my phone to Dropbox right away. So I just like paper sitting around. So everything is filed. That's a good thing. Another tool that I use is Slack. They have free versions. I used to communicate with different crews, so they have different folders for them. Because I guess the point where I'm working with a contractor in 2 or 3 projects, and he asks me, the kitchen wall, is it go down? I was like, wait, hold on, what project are you talking about, right? What is the lock box for 123, Main Street? I don't know. Let me look at it. So Slack helps a lot. Another tool is Genius Scan. It's a free app too that I scan everything, converts to PDF, and goes to Dropbox.
Perfect.
So those are my 3 main that I really love.
You said something about it's this property and this property and this, and then you got to think through it. In my head, I have this like library, like an old school library, and I have this little mouse librarian. And so when I switch topics, or I switch businesses, or I switch properties that we're talking about, or I switch tenants, or anytime I switch, I have to, like, in my head, this is crazy. There's this little cartoon little mouse that has to switch from whatever aisle he's on, run over there, pull it out, and then we have the information. But, I don't just depend on what I remember. I have 2 different phones with different apps and different things so that I can look them both up, and I can be on one and looking things on the other. And,
yes.
Oh, yes. I love it. And I am a Google Drive kind of person, and we use Trello around my office. But a lot of my crews, my contractors, aren't that techie, and so I have to keep my little mouse in my head busy.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, it's
you gotta
awesome.
do what you gotta do. Sometimes you gotta print it out. Some folks are from other countries, and I want to make sure the tile in the bathroom is installed right. So I draw to them. I take pictures. This is how I want, and I point it out. There's like arrows, circles, whatever works. If I'm not communicating, if they're making a lot of mistakes, it's because I'm not communicating right. So I need to adjust.
It's my fault. If you are messing up or you don't do what I asked of you, it was my fault. Yeah. I need to figure out how you learn, how you like to be communicated with. I need to make sure, and some of that, I have things that I'm just not willing to do. Like, if you don't email me invoices, I am not paying you. I am not
paper.
I am not dealing with paper invoices. I will deal with a lot of paper stuff, but I cannot keep up with that. And I'm not dealing with checks. In 2020, we're going check free. Like, it has to be some sort of auto something, because I got checks all over the place and all this stuff. Like, so you have to play by some of my rules. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's just how I function. We pay on the 10th and 25th of every month. And if that doesn't work for you, then go find somebody that'll pay you every Friday. But I got a lot of things going on, and this is how we work.
I agree with you. Otherwise, your life depends on other people's schedule, and that doesn't work.
Nope. And I learned the 10th and 25th from Profit First. I love that guy, Mike Mikowicz. If I was going to recommend any book or series of books, whatever he writes, do it. I love him. I think he's fantastic.
Awesome.
So all the tips and strategies and tools are super duper important, whether it's on the job or technology or anything like that. What other advice do you have for people that are getting started, for ladies, getting started in real estate investing? What would you tell them to do?
That's what I would tell myself if I look back, right? Quit trying to figure out on your own and really have the support system that you need. Do you have the capability of and intelligence of figuring out? Yes, you do. But you don't have to. So if you want to get there a little bit faster or less stress, I would say get support, join a mastermind group, hire a coach, be part of a group that have very similar, interests, that is going through a course with you. I rather pay to get the knowledge instead of paying for my mistakes. So that will be it. That will be my
I gotta point this out too, that people gladly pay to get a law degree and people pay to get a real estate license, but to learn investing, people are like, oh, I'll just figure that out. Why? Like, yeah, you can, but why? Why not just pay for it like you pay to get a doctor's license? I mean,
right.
You pay to get your dog trained, but you're not going to train yourself to buy houses?
Okay, so go make mistakes and lose thousands of dollars there.
People are very people-y these days, but it's cool. It's all good. Tell us more about the InvestHer community, because y'all are taking on the nation now.
Yes.
And so there's got to be a local meetup or group or something, or y'all are looking for people to start new ones.
Yes.
Tell me more what you got going on with InvestHers.
Sure. So we have the Real Estate Investor podcast where you can hear the interview that we had with Whitney too there. So we interview successful women in real estate and to talk about their journey, but also personally, we want to know how do they make it work. And we have InvestHer meetups around the country and one in Canada. We're expanding in every single state right now. So if you're a local investor or realtors, also we have realtors that are running our meetups that are interested in running one. We have a couple of no negotiables that we require, but get in touch and be more than happy to give you guidance. The next step for us, we are creating a membership for our members, because it's not enough, right? We want to provide more support, more accountability for all the women across the country. So that's where we're going. And you can find more information on the Real Estate InvestHer, HER.com.
I love it. And I am super proud of y'all for getting out there and taking this on. And if there's anything I can do to help you, I am here for you. Please let me know.
Absolutely. And Whitney, you and I already talked about it. We have different companies, but we are all towards the same vision to support women. So that's also an example for all of you. There's abundance. And we can collaborate, we can work together, and that's what we're doing here. And I'm really proud to have you, with us collaborating, and vice versa. Whatever you need, we're here to support you.
Well, thank you. Well, I want to have y'all down for She Buys It Live in November in Knoxville, and we'll make that happen. We got lots of other things going on, but y'all remember, and I don't care if you're in a small town, work with the other women. It's collaboration over competition. All right. And we're all trying to win. We're all trying to raise our babies and our puppies and everything. Mm-hmm. And we want to make the world better. All of us do. And if you can get a baseline on that, and then everybody just does it their own little way, it's good, girls. It's all good.
It's all good. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here too and listening. Don't forget to subscribe. I've got a free gift for you on getyourfirstdeal.com. I'll shoot it over straight to your inbox. If you're looking for a coach, reach out to either one of us. We'll be glad to help you. And y'all just get out there and get those deals done, and cheer for the other women who are also getting out there and getting their deals done too.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.